Hey there, how's it going, people? It's 2:30. It's the afternoon. It's Friday, 6th of December. Yes, it is. We had a part this morning, part 9, where we spoke about game week 14, didn't we? All things fantasy Premier League. We spoke about game week 14. It was a midweek set of fixtures. And it was, it was a bit of a tricky one, really, to navigate if you've got defenders, really, unless you were lucky enough to have Arsenal defenders. A lot of you probably did. Crystal Palace, they got clean sheets as well. Bournemouth, there you go, it's a surprising one, though they have done quite well. But this part 10, the big 10 at 2:30 in the afternoon. We're on number 10. I can't believe it's flown by, hasn't it, really? We're on all things game week 15, which is tomorrow. It is indeed. It is the Merseyside derby to start with at 12:30. So without further ado, as always, let's get you guys seeing what I am seeing. Social wise, don't forget I'm on all of them. Facebook, AJP85-channel. I'm also on X, AJ1985P, Twitch, which is one of the live stream methods, A_J_P_8_8_5. Otherwise, the big YouTube where I put all the videos afterwards, AJ Hardy 85. Like, subscribe, and follow, please, if you would. You guys are awesome that are already following me, but let's get some more, especially on Facebook, and let's get some more on YouTube and Twitch. Let's get loads of people following and keeping an eye on my fantasy, because I love fantasy. I love football. I love everything to do with that. I love strategy. I love games. This goes hand in hand perfectly. All game week 15 now, talk-wise. The team is as follows. I learnt my lesson from the last game, week 14, and Fabianski's benched for Raya against Fulham. Now, you could argue, okay, AJ, this week might have been the week where you've gone, think about that, because Fabianski has Wolves. They're in trouble, aren't they? And Raya has Fulham, who are not in trouble after that 3-1 victory they had. So, yes. Thinking about options, really, in that sense. So, but I will keep Raya in goal. I think I'm not gonna make that mistake. Then I've got Lewis. Hopefully, he comes back into the team for Manchester City. Akanji's injured, or he got a knock in that previous match, so maybe that might make a bit of a difference, shuffling the team around. Not sure. I will give Lewis another week, maybe 2, before I look to kick him out potentially. Colwell or Dragusin are going to have to play. Both of them at the moment. They're both in. I'll explain a little bit about why they're both in. There's a reason behind that. So that's going to be the defense. I could potentially take a minor risk with Kwanzaa. I'll stick him in for the sake of it now. Do I think Tottenham or Chelsea? Let's go Chelsea for a second. Knockout. Let's keep Chelsea. And so let's say that's the sort of back 3, because I play 3-4-3. Lewis, Colwell, and Kwanzaa. Okay, so that's going to be potentially the team. Then midfield, Saka, 110%. Even thinking about maybe as a vice captain choice. Mo Salah. A lot of people say do not captain the 12:30 kickoff man, but I am captain in the 12:30 kickoff man. I do not care about all these, all these hoodoo things that come up and superstitions. I am 100% captaining Mo Salah. He's just been on fire. Even if he's not against Everton, most of the people will be, so I won't lose much in rank-wise. Rodgers against Southampton at home. He scored in the previous match. It's Brentford. He was at home in that match. So yes, Rodgers 100% in. Johnson didn't do much at all against Bournemouth, so I'm not concerned, but I'm curious to see how he does against Chelsea. Once again, they're at home, so maybe that might make a difference. So Johnson at home against Chelsea. And then the forward 3, they pick themselves because of the way it is, the way the formation is, the way the team is. Wissa against Newcastle. Fingers crossed he does something, because he did naff all in the previous match. Jackson, I'm hoping he comes back against Tottenham. I'm hoping that was just a benching, but Nkunku did quite well, didn't he, for Chelsea? So I'm hoping that's just a one-off. I'm playing a game bounce kind of thing, and that doesn't steal too many minutes from Jackson. Haaland is currently vice captain. I'm again hoping that assist, his involvement in the game, will make a difference for Haaland going forward. So yes, hoping that will. He was Nottingham Forest, isn't it? So Nottingham Forest, he did well against. Nicholas Jackson should have played against Southampton, didn't, because it was rested 5-1 as well. He would have been involved in that, definitely. So there you go. Now, on the bench, Fabianski. I know what you're thinking, AJ. You probably should look to swap the keepers around this game week rather than the previous one. But Man United, come on against Arsenal. I know Man United are not in a great place right this second, but they've got a new manager, so I expected something from them. Jorginho Rutter is on the bench right now. Minor concern about the fact that he was benched in the previous match. So, yeah, Dragusin is on the bench at the moment, but technically Spurs are the home team. It's just one of those grey areas, isn't it, really? And Chelsea did really well at Southampton, so I expect them to have their tails up, even though they're playing against Chelsea. Konate's injured for the next few weeks. So, Dragusin or Colwell in defence. Jorginho Rutter versus Rodgers and Fabianski versus Raya, but I'm not going to really swap things around. I don't think there's a reason why I've put those players in there as it stands. Maybe Dragusin for Colwell, haven't decided just yet. Now, I have, let's have a look at the fixtures first before we go on to the next part. Saturday, we've got Everton versus Liverpool. Big Merseyside derby match, that one. Everton coming in off the back of a win and a clean sheet, but they're not going to do that against Liverpool. There's going to be no win. There's going to be no clean sheet. I expect Mo Salah to comfortably get a couple of goals. Maybe Everton might get one, sneak on because they are at home. Probably a 3-1 to Liverpool. Something as extreme as that 2-1, 3-1, maybe even a 2-0. I don't think it's going to be a tight match despite Everton doing well of late. Villa versus Southampton. Simply put, I expect Villa to win. They won the previous match. They've got some goals back. Watkins involved, Morgan involved as well, Rodgers. So that's good. So I expect Villa to win that one quite comfortably, probably a 3-1 or something like that along those lines. Brentford Newcastle. I expect this to be a very narrow Newcastle win. I don't think they're going to thump Brentford, despite Brentford being a bit dodgy at the moment. Newcastle probably 2-1 victory on that one. Isak, keep an eye on him. He's definitely the man to watch at the moment. Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. There's not going to be an upset, but Crystal Palace, I don't think they're going to end up being heavily beaten by Man City. I think it's going to be a 2-1 as well in that one. Haaland, I predicted probably was going to score in the previous match. He got an assist. I think he might get it. I think he might get that goal against Crystal Palace. He might enjoy playing against those physical defenders in Gay. So, yeah, I think City's going to scrape a win in that one in the 3 o'clock kickoff. Then we've got the 5:30 Man United versus Nottingham Forest. Normally, I'd be saying Manchester United, definitely. I'm not so sure now. I can see possibly a draw in this one. I can see Chris Wood finally getting his goal. I've been talking about Wood for a while now. Really good player. I think it's going to be a 1-1 on that one. I think the goal probably for Man United, you're looking at maybe Fernandes, maybe Rashford. Depends on what Rashford does, really, because he was a bit meh against Arsenal. So I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think Wood's going to be involved in Forest. He may not necessarily score, but I think he might assist in that one. Then we got Sunday. We move over to Sunday's 2 o'clock kickoff. Arsenal versus Fulham away over at Craven Cottage. I think it's going to be a tight game, I really do. I don't think Arsenal are going to steamroll them despite being in great form at the moment. It's a difficult one to call. I want to say 2-1. I want to say like a 1-0, maybe even a 1-1 to throw a spanner in the works. It's not that I'm not a diehard Arsenal fan, it's I'm a realist. And Arsenal have this situation where sometimes they do really well and then something happens and it's sort of minor crisis again at the Emirates. But I'd say I think Arsenal might scrape a 2-1. I really do. Fulham being in good form. I think you're looking at maybe Iwobi, maybe even Smith Rowe come back to haunt Arsenal potentially. There you go, to get a goal in that game. But I do think that Saka is finally going to do something in this match. He didn't in the previous game. I think he will against Fulham. I think he's going to get an assist in this one. Havertz is the man to watch for me for Arsenal. I think so, and Odegaard. So there you go. Ipswich versus Bournemouth. Interesting game, but Bournemouth win. So there you go. You'd think it would be a bit tighter than that because normally Bournemouth are sort of bottom end, and Ipswich have just come up the bottom end of the Premier League-ish. So, but I think Bournemouth are flying. I think I'm stunned. Iriola has done such a good job. I didn't expect him to be so good when he came in, but he's been absolutely outstanding, hasn't he? When he's come straight in, done a really good job. And I expect him to do again the same thing. I think you're looking at maybe a 2-0 perhaps on this one. Evan Nielsen, I think we'll finally see something from him. He didn't in the previous match. I did sort of punt on Evan Nielsen, saying he was going to do something in the previous game. He didn't, but this time I think he will. Evan Nielsen's the man to watch in that one. Leicester versus Brighton. Leicester have got Van Nistelrooy in charge now, haven't they? They They won that game, the previous match as well against West Ham. Brighton lost the game during game week 14. So I'm thinking, draw. That game's got draw written on it, in my opinion. I don't know about heavy scoring draw, probably a 2-2, something like that, 1-1, something along those lines. No clean sheet, I don't think, for either team though in that game. One to watch, Mitoma. I think Mitoma might come to the fore in that game. Spurs versus Chelsea, huge London derby this weekend on Sunday. 4:30, the big kickoff. That's why it's got the 4:30 on Sky. 1-1, I think. I think a 1-1. Son for Spurs. Palmer for Chelsea. There's the two players I think you got to look at. So if you've got Son, well done. If you've got Palmer, which a lot of people do, well done. If you've got Nicholas Jackson, you're getting 2 points potentially on that, like me. And if you've got Brennan Johnson, you might be looking at an assist, but I think you're probably looking at a 2-pointer on that game as well. But it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to that one. Seeing how both teams play against each other. Ange versus Maresca. Be interesting to see how that game pans out. I think 1-1. Monday, we have a Monday fixture. An 8 o'clock jobby. West Ham versus Wolves. Big game. I'd actually argue, and here we go. Ready to hear that? Second biggest game of the weekend. You heard it here first. Everton, Liverpool, obviously, people are looking at the derby, the Merseyside derby. Third, I think, is Spurs versus Chelsea, just from that curiosity factor. West Ham versus Wolves is huge. Both managers under pressure. Lopetegui, O'Neill, you could argue either of them could be sacked if a bad result kicks in on that day. West Ham are at home. I don't have any players, apart from Lucas Fabianski. I'm looking at benching, aren't I? So I won't have any dogs in the fight on this one. So it will quite literally be West Ham Wolves, and I will watch it. I will watch it for major curiosity. But I see a very, 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 very slim win for West Ham. I really do. Maybe a 2-1 or 1-0, something along those lines. Wolves are going to want to do well. West Ham are going to want to do well at home against their home fans. So yeah, I think Emerson might score in this game. And I think Bowen, watch Bowen. He's the man to watch. Bowen and Kudus up front. Those two are definitely to watch. And finally, we talk about Wolves. Strand Larsen and Cunha are the two sort of dynamic players, aren't they, really? And I think you're looking at one of those two sort of score assist, either. So yeah, I think you're looking at probably a 2-1 West Ham, though. Just Lopetegui safe just for a week. But they might get rid of him even if he wins. You never know. You never know with that kind of thing. I don't know if you guys keep an eye out on the press conferences, just so you know. I do look at Reddit now and then. That was today's lineup for the press conferences. Check it out on Sky Sports if you don't know what they've got to say. One interesting thing that came out of that, and I did look through the press conferences, Slot has come back and said that he thinks Kwanzaa did well. Kwanzaa did well in his start, in his 90-minute match during the week, which is odd because he got a 0 and got a yellow card, and yeah, it was 3-3. But apparently he did well. So okay, minor hope. But then a lot of these managers are a bit fraudulent, aren't they? In the sense they say one thing and they mean another, don't they? It's a bit like Arteta, who came on and did his press conference and said, he was asked what was going on with Gabriel, the defender, is he fit? And he said, "Oh, we don't know. We have to wait and see. We've still got another training session. Or maybe not." And you're like, just say he's still got, he's still got something he needs to. But you could argue he's just being honest to a degree. Maybe he is. So yeah, it was quite interesting actually to watch some of the press conferences. But yeah, keep an eye on them. They're on Sky Sports if you're interested at looking at what the managers have got to say about their teams. But we go back to my fantasy team. That's the lineup for this weekend and onto Monday, which is game week 15. Don't forget the cutoff point is 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. So make sure you keep an eye on that. That is the team that I'm going to put out. Now, I have a minor dilemma for the next 5 minutes and even into tomorrow morning that I'll discuss with you guys for the next 5 or so. Canate. Yes, he's a great player, but he's going to be out for a few weeks. Apparently, the minimum he's going to be out for 20-odd days, maybe a bit longer. So my dilemma is very simple. It's curable, but it's something I need to discuss with you guys and get your feedback on. So comment, make note, let me know, follow, subscribe, like as usual. Check out the socials, but comment indeed on YouTube, Facebook, or X about Canate. And the question I've got to you guys is, do I take him out for Gomez? I want Liverpool coverage, despite the fact they conceded 3 goals the other day. They're sort of games coming up in the next few weeks are green. It looks good. I think they might do well. Even against Everton, I think they might do okay. I think they might concede. Also, on the flip side, getting Gomez in covers me just in case Slot decides that Kwanzaa is his man. I don't think it's going to happen. The reason behind all this is Konate at the second is 5.3 million. That is his price, despite what it says on the screen. Konate is 5.3 million. Okay. According to, again, I'm playing the system a bit here. According to the price predictor, he's also due to go down tonight potentially to 5.2. What that means is I can afford to take out Konate right this second because of my price I paid for him. It was 5.1, so he moved up to 5.2 because he's now 5.3, so I've got an extra 0.1. Do I kick Konate out, go with Gomez for this weekend, and the next weekend, the weekend after that, and then bring him back potentially if he goes down in price of 5.2? Okay. So that is my thinking process potentially. I also kept an eye on Yoro as well. He played for about 30 minutes or so for Manchester United the other day. He came on into defence and went to the right-sided centre-half position. And I was looking again at that bracket for 4.3 going forward, who's pretty solid, who could do well. Man United did concede 2 against Arsenal, and they won't be phenomenal for the rest of the season. But the choice is basically Dragusin's got to go. He's always going to go at some point. So the choices will be Dunk if he drops to 4.3 because he's 4.4 right this second. Mikolenko, who's potentially going up, but he's got Liverpool, and I think he will concede a few this weekend. And then obviously keep an eye on Yoro, potentially Totti, a Wolves player as well. Todibo, I think, is now 4.3, is he? Can't remember if he is over at West Ham. So those are my choices. Am I right in saying that? Yes, he's 4.3, so he might come back into the team. He's got a little knock, but he's basically been playing pretty much every match, bar that one against Leicester. So, yeah, it's all defence. Come on, AJ, do something else for your team. Do something else for maybe Jorginho Rutter, depending on how many more minutes he gets. Amad Diallo I was looking at, but he didn't play the other day against Arsenal. So I just wonder, he didn't start especially. I just wonder whether his minutes are now going to be managed a little bit. So that's why I haven't jumped on that bandwagon. But 5.5 million, 5.6, which is what Jorginho Rutter is right this second. I can afford to wait with Rutter. If he drops to 5.5, I lose nothing because I paid 5.5 for him. So I'm not concerned about him just yet. Rodgers is coming to a bit of form. If he scores against Southampton or does something against them, I think his price might go up again. So my sole focus and sole question to you guys out there is very simple. Konate, should I kick him out for Gomez? Should I have Liverpool coverage in that sense as well, and then bring him back later on when he's full fit and then back into the team again? That's the question really. To all you, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think it's a good shout. I will put a note up on X to see if you guys think I should bring him back in again. But as it stands right this second, I am excited going into game week 15. As you guys know, I got more than the average, despite the fact that people are probably shouting at the screen saying, you should have got more than the average. You should be aiming high, not just getting more than the average. But you get what you're given, don't you really? I should have got Raya's points. I shouldn't have been messing about with the goalkeepers and taking a punt. But I looked at the fixtures and thought that West Ham had the easier one, in my opinion. There you go. Simple as that. So there's a team going into game week 15. There you go. Raya, Lewis, Colwell, Kwanzaa. Colwell I might swap for Dragusin. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. Lewis, Colwell, Kwanzaa, Johnson, Rodgers, Mo Salah captain, Saka, Wisa, Nicholas Jackson, and Haaland vice, with Fabianski, Jorginho Rutter, Dragusin, and Konate on the bench. That could change if I kick Konate out, bring in Gomez. Immediately I'll have Liverpool versus Everton coverage for that match. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think in general, guys. As always, check out the socials. Please do. Check out the press conferences from today. Obviously on Sky Sports, all the bits are on here as well, going through all the managers and what they've got to say. The price predictors there as well. Obviously my eyes are on Konate right this second to see what's going to happen with him, and Dunk. Those two players I'm looking at who are scheduled to go down. But how many times does it say that and they don't actually change? So we will see. But otherwise, ladies and gents, thank you as always for joining me this afternoon. I hope you've got your fantasy teams not sorted, but almost sorted in that sense, and you're keeping an eye on that 11 o'clock deadline tomorrow, because it will come up on you without you realizing. And yeah, check out your teams, see how you go with FPL. But otherwise, follow, like, and subscribe. Check out all my socials, and I will see you guys on Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we will discuss how that weekend went, because I don't have any players on the Monday fixture. See you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. I've been AJ. Peace.